Most people do not invite darkness intentionally. They buy it. They decorate their homes with it. They place it near their bed. They hang it on their walls. And then they wonder, why is there no peace? Why is there tension? Why does the energy feel heavy? Not every object is neutral. Some items carry intention. Some carry history. Some carry spiritual residue. Today, I will reveal 7 cursed items that may invite witchcraft into your home, and why a disciplined mind never allows unconscious energy into sacred space. If you value peace, watch carefully. When you bring an object into your home, you are not just bringing matter, you are bringing memory, you are bringing history, you are bringing intention. Most people walk through antique markets, second-hand stores, online auctions, and they see only design. They see beauty, they see uniqueness, they see a good price, but they do not ask the deeper question, where has this been? Who touched it? Who cried near it? Who prayed over it? Who used it in desperation, in anger, in grief? Everything absorbs something. Wood absorbs emotion, fabric absorbs presence, metal holds imprint. This is not superstition, this is sensitivity. Even science tells us that environments leave traces. Now imagine an object that has been in a home filled with conflict. Imagine a statue once used in rituals you do not understand. Imagine jewelry worn during moments of intense suffering. You may not see it, but subtle impressions remain. And when you place that object into your sacred space, you merge its past with your present. You might say, but it's just an old item. And that is exactly the danger when you reduce something to just a mirror, just a figurine, just an antique box. Yet you do not know if that mirror was used for divination practices. You do not know if that figurine represented something invoked repeatedly with strong intention. You do not know if that box once held ritual tools. Ignorance does not neutralize energy. Your home is not a storage unit. It is an extension of your inner world. It is where you sleep, where your mind becomes vulnerable, where your subconscious opens. When you fill it with objects of unknown spiritual history, you create subtle disturbance. You may begin to feel uneasy without reason. You may notice tension. You may feel watched, restless, heavy, and you will not connect it to the object because you never questioned it in the first place. A disciplined person is careful about what enters their space. This does not mean living in fear. It means living in awareness. If you do not know the origin of something, if you cannot sense clarity from it, if your intuition hesitates even slightly, listen. Your intuition is ancient intelligence. It speaks quietly, but it protects fiercely. There is a reason sacred traditions cleanse objects before bringing them into temples or homes. There is a reason monks live simply, minimizing possessions. The fewer unknown attachments you carry, the clearer your energy remains. Peace is fragile when you are careless. Before you purchase something with unknown spiritual history, pause. Ask yourself whether you are inviting beauty or baggage, because once it crosses your doorway, it becomes part of your atmosphere. Look carefully at the walls of your home. Look at the symbols you display. Many people say, it's just art, it's just fashion, it's just aesthetic. But symbols are never just decoration. A symbol is condensed intention. It is meaning compressed into form. Long before language was spoken, symbols were used to invoke, to protect, to curse, to direct energy. Every ancient culture understood this. A circle, a triangle, an inverted sign, a sigil drawn with precision. These are not random designs, they are spiritual language. And language has power even when you do not understand it. Today, many people hang occult symbols in their homes because they look mysterious, because they appear edgy, because they are trending online. They print ritual markings on posters. They wear sigils on clothing. They place inverted icons above their beds. And when asked what it means, they say, I don't know. It just looks cool. But would you hang words in a foreign language on your wall without knowing what they say? What if those words were an invitation? What if they were a declaration? What if they were a doorway? When you display a symbol, you align yourself with its meaning, consciously or unconsciously. Some symbols were created specifically for invocation practices. Some were designed to call upon forces. Some were used in rituals of manipulation or spiritual interference. You may not believe in it, but belief is not always required for influence. Repetition creates familiarity. Familiarity lowers awareness, and lowered awareness opens doors. Your subconscious mind reads everything, even when your conscious mind dismisses it. If you surround yourself with imagery of chaos, inversion, distortion, your nervous system absorbs that message daily. It becomes background noise, and what you normalize in the background eventually shapes your internal state. You begin to feel restless without knowing why. You feel unsettled in your own space. You may even feel a subtle heaviness, as if the atmosphere is not clean. This is why sacred spaces are intentional. In temples, monasteries, and places of deep spiritual practice, every symbol is chosen carefully. It is not random. It is aligned with clarity, discipline, compassion, awakening. There is no confusion in sacred geometry used for elevation. There is no mockery of spiritual law. Everything reflects order. Ask yourself honestly, does what you hang on your walls represent peace, strength, and awareness? Or does it represent rebellion, darkness, and distortion disguised as art? You do not need to fear symbols, but you must respect them. If you do not understand a sign, do not display it. If you do not know its origin, research it. If your intuition feels resistance, listen. Your home should not be a gallery of unconscious choices. It should be a reflection of your highest state. Remove what invites confusion. Keep only what strengthens your clarity, because what you display, you declare. A mirror seems harmless. It hangs quietly on the wall. It reflects your face. It helps you adjust your clothes before you leave the house. But a mirror does more than show appearance. It doubles whatever stands before it. It amplifies presence. It reflects energy back into the room. For centuries, across many traditions, mirrors have been treated with respect, not fear, respect, because a mirror does not discriminate. It reflects joy. It reflects anger. It reflects grief. It reflects intention. When you bring an old mirror into your home, especially one with unknown history, you are not bringing in a blank surface. You are bringing something that has reflected countless moments, arguments, tears, rituals, desperation, desire. You do not know what stood in front of it repeatedly. You do not know what intentions were projected into it. Some mirrors have been used intentionally in practices of divination and spiritual invocation. In such settings, the mirror becomes more than glass. It becomes a focal point, a doorway for concentration, a surface upon which intense intention is placed again and again, and intention leaves imprint. You may say, but it's just an object. Yes, it is glass and frame, but it is also a surface designed to receive and return. That is its nature. And when you position such an object in your bedroom, the place where you sleep, where your mind enters its most vulnerable state, you create continuous reflection. Even at night when the room is dark, your subconscious is aware of space. It senses openness. It senses depth. Have you ever felt uneasy sleeping in front of a mirror? Have you noticed subtle restlessness? There is a reason many traditions recommend covering mirrors at night. It is not superstition. It is about reducing stimulation, reducing energetic duplication, reducing unconscious disturbance. An antique mirror, especially one from an unknown source, may carry emotional residue. You may not see it, but you may feel it, a heaviness, a strange tension, a subtle discomfort when standing before it. And because you do not understand the cause, you ignore the signal. A disciplined person does not ignore subtle signals. This does not mean you must remove all mirrors from your home. It means you choose them carefully, you buy them new, you cleanse them intentionally, you place them where they support light, not darkness. You avoid positioning them directly facing your bed, reflecting your body during sleep. Your home should restore your nervous system, not stimulate it unnecessarily. Remember, a mirror amplifies what is already there. If your home is filled with peace, it reflects peace. If it carries tension, it reflects tension. If it has unknown spiritual history, it may reflect more than you realize. Be mindful of what you allow to stand silently in your space. And because they are gifts, you lower your guard. You assume that because something was given, it must carry goodwill. But objects do not only carry material form, they carry intention. And intention is not always visible on the surface. There are people who give from love, and there are people who give from comparison, jealousy, resentment, or hidden competition. A person may smile outwardly while struggling inwardly. And when they hand you an object, that internal state can travel with it. You may not believe this immediately, but reflect on your own experience. Have you ever entered a room after two people argued, even though they stopped before you arrived? You could feel it. The tension remained. Emotion leaves imprint. Intention leaves residue. Now imagine an object that has been held while someone was thinking intensely about you, not with blessing, but with envy. Imagine jewelry given after harsh words were spoken behind your back. Imagine a decorative piece gifted by someone who secretly resents your progress. The object becomes a carrier of unresolved energy. This does not mean you must distrust everyone. It means you must stay aware. Sometimes, after receiving a gift, your space feels different, heavier, less calm. You may feel irritated without reason. You may feel slight anxiety when you look at the item, but because it was a gift, you force yourself to keep it. You tell yourself you are being ungrateful if you remove it. Gratitude does not require self-betrayal. Your intuition is subtle but precise. If something feels wrong, even slightly, listen. You do not need proof. You do not need confrontation. You do not need drama. You can simply choose not to keep what disturbs your peace. A disciplined mind understands boundaries, not only with words, but with objects. In many traditions, when receiving something significant, people cleanse it. They pray over it. They set intention over it before placing it in their home. Why? Because they understand that energy can transfer. They understand that your space must remain protected. You are not responsible for managing someone else's hidden emotions. You are responsible for protecting your environment. If you sense heaviness from something that was given to you, remove it quietly. Donate it, discard it, or cleanse it with clear intention and awareness. Do not allow politeness to overpower intuition. Your home is not a museum of obligation. It is a sanctuary. Today, many people experiment with spiritual tools without understanding what they are touching. They light certain candles because they saw it in a video. They place specific herbs in bowls because someone online said it attracts protection or wealth. They buy dolls, charms, talismans, small figurines that are labeled as powerful, manifestation tools, or energy enhancers. But they do not study the origin. They do not understand the tradition. They do not know the intention behind the practice. Curiosity without discipline is dangerous. There are objects that were designed for ritual use, not for decoration, not for casual experimentation. They were created within specific systems, with specific rules, guided by teachers who understood the psychological and spiritual consequences of misuse. When you imitate a ritual without knowledge, you are opening a door without knowing what is behind it. A candle is just wax and flame until it is used with directed intention. Herbs are just plants until they are assigned symbolic meaning within a ritual framework. A doll is just cloth until it becomes a symbolic representation in certain practices. The object itself is neutral, the structure around it gives it power, and when you copy something blindly, you step into that structure unknowingly. Many people treat spirituality like entertainment. They mix practices from different traditions. They perform fragments of rituals without grounding. They create altars in their bedrooms without understanding what an altar represents. They combine symbols and tools from systems that were never meant to be blended. This creates confusion in the mind. Confusion weakens clarity, and when clarity weakens, fear increases. You begin imagining things. You begin feeling unstable. You attribute every small disturbance to something external, but the disturbance began the moment you stepped into something you did not comprehend. Spiritual strength is not built through experimentation. It is built through discipline, simplicity, and self-mastery. If you do not understand a practice deeply, do not perform it. If you are not trained in a tradition, do not imitate its tools. If something requires invocation, chanting, symbolic gestures, or specific alignment, pause. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? What am I trying to control? What am I trying to attract? Often, the desire to manipulate outcomes leads people into practices that destabilize them internally. They want quick protection, quick wealth, quick revenge, quick answers. But true stability does not come from external objects. It comes from inner order. Your home should not be filled with half-understood ritual items. It should be grounded in simplicity, clean space, clear intention, calm atmosphere. If you want protection, cultivate integrity. If you want peace, cultivate discipline. If you want strength, train your mind. Do not invite what you cannot control, because once you open a door unconsciously, closing it becomes much harder. Now look at the images you surround yourself with every single day. What hangs on your walls? What sits on your shelves? What fills your screens? Many people decorate their homes with dark imagery and call it style. Skulls, distorted faces, violent artwork, demonic figures, symbols of suffering, horror-themed statues. They say it is creative, they say it is expressive, they say it is harmless, but your mind does not experience it as harmless. The subconscious does not understand irony. It does not understand just for fun. It responds to repetition. Whatever you see repeatedly becomes normalized. Whatever becomes normalized begins shaping your internal atmosphere. If every day you wake up and the first thing you see is an image of chaos, your nervous system registers chaos. If every night before sleeping your eyes rest on symbols of fear or aggression, your body does not fully relax. It remains slightly alert, slightly tense, slightly guarded, and over time, that slight tension becomes your baseline. You may not consciously feel afraid, but you may feel restless, irritated, on edge. You may struggle to find deep stillness in your own home. You may notice your thoughts becoming darker, more dramatic, more reactive, and you will not connect it to your environment because you have convinced yourself it is only decoration. Environment shapes psychology. This is why sacred spaces are designed carefully. In monasteries, temples, and places of meditation, imagery is calm, balanced, intentional. Symbols represent awakening, compassion, strength, clarity. The colors are chosen to soothe the mind. The space supports inner order. When you fill your home with images that glorify chaos, distortion, or suffering, you train your mind to accept that frequency as normal. Energy follows attention. If your attention is constantly drawn to dark themes, even aesthetically, your internal world gradually reflects that focus. You may find yourself attracted to conflict, drawn to dramatic narratives, feeling comfortable in tension rather than peace, and peace begins to feel unfamiliar. Ask yourself honestly, does what surrounds me elevate my state of mind, or does it stimulate intensity? There is nothing wrong with art, there is nothing wrong with expression, but there must be awareness. If something consistently makes you feel heavy, uneasy, or agitated, it does not belong in your sanctuary. Your home is where your nervous system resets. It is where your mind restores clarity. It is where your spirit regains strength after facing the world. Do not turn your sanctuary into a theater of darkness. Choose images that strengthen you. Choose symbols that inspire discipline, courage, and balance. Choose an atmosphere that reflects the person you are becoming, not the chaos you are trying to escape. Because what you normalize externally, you internalize silently.